So in this video, we're chatting with Angie, a designer based in Malta who's trying to level up as a framer creator. This video is pretty raw and authentic, but I help Angie break down her goals and overcome some roadblocks and help her build a blueprint for monetizing her framer passion. I think there's a ton of relatable nuggets in this video if you're a framer designer. Let's go. I'm really keen to just kind of get to know you a little bit more and kind of where your goals are. And then my hope is that I can kind of give you some sort of guidance, direction, consulting, whatever it sort of looks like. It's the first time I'm running one of these too, so it will be quite experimental for me as well. But my hope is that I can kind of give you some sort of direction and some sort of insight that kind of basically gives you a path to kind of where you want to get to and kind of hit that sort of goal that you want to get to. Now, before we kick off, did you sign up for the Framer Challenge? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I signed up. So basically Georgia reached out to get a bit of a review, I guess, for the course. And on that same day I got to know about the challenge, and I thought, because like I said to Georgia, I don't feel like very comfortable talking. I'm more like, I feel like I'm a better writer. I feel like there's too much instant connection from my brain to my mouth, essentially.
Sure.
Um, and I thought, oh, this could be cool because, like, what am I going to say, that I just finished the course? Like, congratulations. That doesn't, really help encourage other people to show the value that can come out of it because you've just completed it. But maybe that's also like my background of being self-taught. I'm more like about seeing actual tangible results rather than, oh, you got a certificate. Good. I'm happy for you.
What's the sort of clientele that you're currently working with? Like, what sort of projects are they? What's that sort of like type of client? And then secondly, how are you currently feeling in terms of the consistency of work? Like, I think with freelancers in particular, they kind of go on the whiplash or the roller coaster effect where it's like they get the work, then they get busy, and then they have to find more work, then they get busy again. Like, how are you kind of finding yourself currently in terms of like consistency with the amount of work that's coming in?
So basically, when I started in 2012, I started like brand graphic design and then transitioned to web. And
Yeah.
mostly since 2017, I've basically been product design. So
Yeah.
that's where my clients have been
Yeah.
mainly. I haven't really been doing many or any web projects. Volume, I would say it's as you said, essentially it's ups and downs. And a big part of it is kind of on me. I'll be honest with you. I'm very bad, like I said, as like my online presence about reaching out to people and this sort of thing.
Uh,
And full disclosure, I've been focusing on some side projects, so I haven't been like fully focused on acquiring clients. So it's just an up, how would you say, like there's many kind of bits. It's not
yeah.
one answer, but
Yeah.
generally I think freelancing can be, one day it's very shiny, the next day it's very rainy and it's a drought, and it's
Yeah.
it's ups and downs. And I think having access to like the framer marketplace
Mm.
and like the recurring income from like referrals and stuff, I think that's really good for us as
Yeah.
designers and especially freelancers. So at least when the drought comes, which inevitably it will come, because it's just how it
For
is,
sure.
seasons, at least there is something still on tap.
So your first goal is that you want to get comfortable with Framer, right? Which we'll dive into in just a sec. But is there a secondary goal there, which is to essentially create a little bit more stability and essentially an additional income stream for yourself personally as a freelancer that's a little bit more reliable? And it might not be, uh, the major income stream. It's probably not going to be the number one thing, but it's going to be something. So when those rainy days come, like there's still something that kind of keeps the boat afloat.
Yeah, totally. I mean, again, one of the side goals I have like supporting activities to become an expert, for an
Mm.
example, because then, that's gonna, how would you say, help you on Contra and stuff. Please don't look
Yeah,
at my Contra profile. It
I'm gonna look at it
hasn't
right
been
now.
touched. It hasn't been touched in years, and I want to like make that really focused just on
Yeah,
Framer.
yeah,
I feel like the product clients I mainly get from referrals, like even developers that I've worked with previously, they've joined another company and they refer me. I
yeah,
feel like that is where the bulk of my work comes. And I feel like Contra seems to be like a great place to focus on Framer. Or at least this
yeah.
is what I've understood thus far. So yeah, I definitely would like to have like a side kind of, like some passive income.
Mm.
But that is again secondary. The first thing is I want to feel like I'm in Framer and I feel comfortable and I want to do this and I can like whatever I can think of, I can do. And I feel like confident with the product because again, I don't know why I feel this almost reluctance, like fear, like what if something breaks? I should have felt that with, coding my own code, not having this being done for me.
Okay, fantastic. So the goal is 5K, and it's mostly going to be around essentially selling assets or templates for Framer, right? So again, let's leave the client side out of it because I think that you could easily go get a 5K client project. And I also think the benefit for you, especially if the goal is to get comfortable with Framer, you're reducing the risk if you're kind of like creating something for yourself. Because when you create it for a client, it's like there's actually responsibilities and outcomes that you have to hit, right? So I actually think it is a good thing to start with a template. And then again, like you're building your sort of confidence in Framer and also your just general experience in Framer. So then when you go update your contra profile and put work on there, like you actually have a bit more validation that you know what you're doing and you're confident that the platform's going to behave in the way that it needs to behave for the type of clients that you want to get to as well. So let's start with templates firstly. So what are your sort of like ideas around templates?
Yeah, so one idea I had for ages, and again, this is speaks of my me not making the time to practice. Yeah, I don't know if you remember the platform ReadTV. It's either like shutting down or it
Right.
has shut down,
Okay.
but it's like a portfolio type website,
Right.
and I wanted to clone that essentially.
Mm.
And if it's shut down, I've copied the page essentially, so
Great.
I already have all the styles that I can use. So that's like my first one, very simple, nothing extravagant, like a simple template essentially for me to just put that out there and move on to the more challenging things.
So quickly on that portfolio template for who? For other designers, for product designers?
I would say like zooming out, it's probably more at non-designers because designers would probably want to, design their own flashy template essentially.
Is that something you want to put a price tag against, or are you going, this is a free thing?
I think this should be free. I think this should just be like if you already have a Read TV,
Uh-huh.
portfolio thing and it's shutting down, there's your opportunity to just, couple of clicks, fill in
Yep.
the information and you're back online,
Yep.
basically.
Okay, fantastic. And then did you have any other templates you were considering?
So, as I've researched of it to see where there is a gap, and it
Yep.
seems e-commerce is one of the greatest
Yep.
one, and then obviously there's your product that we could
Yep.
integrate into that
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
So that feels like something I should look into. But again, I've actually never designed anything e-commerce, so this would be a
Sure.
first time generally for me. So it would
Yeah.
be like an even bigger challenge with it, which is exciting. Um, Real estate apparently is also there's a gap. But again, I'm very, very open to like feedback, suggestions, recommendations. I'm just throwing at you essentially what I have like thought about thus far in like a fig jam. Um, there's other ideas like plugins and stuff, but there my knowledge is limited and I don't want to slow myself down because that kind of diverts from the goal of getting comfortable with
Yeah.
Framer, you know
For
what I
sure.
mean? So those are like later on if there's time, sure, why not?
Yeah.
But I would say template is where I should focus my time and energy.
Yeah, agree. Okay, fantastic. So portfolio, personal side, e-commerce, and real estate are the sort of top ones. My sort of advice on it is having intention about who you actually want to buy it and what that means. So, for example, if you're going to have a sort of like personal, just a simple sort of website, that sort of audience that you grow from either selling that template or giving it away for free is going to vary comparing to an e-commerce store or a real estate agent or something like that. I think the mistake that a lot of creators make when they go to create templates is they create it for other designers. So I think actually the gap and what people don't actually talk about is that a lot of Framers customers are marketers, not actually designers, but they pitch themselves to designers, right? But really, at least from what we've seen in terms of our data from customers and things like that, probably about 80% of them are actually marketers or marketing teams, which is really fascinating, right? Because it's actually the non-creative, non-designer people wanting to use Framer. And that's why people start with templates. Like if they were a designer, they would build it themselves, right? So I think that's why the personal sort of resume site makes it a lot of sense as like a quick sort of win, as a quick sort of project. I also think it's a very competitive sort of space because the barrier to entry is quite low. And again, if you try to sell that, I think it'll kind of fall flat. But I think the interesting thing about making it free is you can actually use that as almost like a lead magnet for what you
Yeah.
were talking about next, which was the sort of like UI design kit, the tailwind sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
especially if that was, again, if you're kind of going after the personal brands, maybe they're not a designer, then maybe the tailwind isn't as interesting. But, I'm sure there's, startup founders and people in tech that want to use that template. And guess what?
Yeah.
They probably need some sort of tailwind solution for their marketing team or their product team or whatever that's potentially built in Framer. So I think that could potentially be a nice lead magnet for another product. And then I
Yeah.
think in terms of e-commerce and real estate, again, yeah, they're probably the two big ones that have this sort of biggest gap at the moment. And I think the reason for the biggest gap is it requires additional functionality that is more complex to set up in Framer. So one, I think it would be a nice challenge for you to like obviously get comfortable with these tools and really push it through the paces in terms of like a real estate website, right? Like you're gonna have a massive CMS, maybe that's integrated with another database that's synced across to the Framer CMS so they can manage it outside. Then there's a bunch of filtering that has to be done. There's probably some real time data that has to be pulled in. Like there's a lot of different complexities around building a real estate website. And again, that sort of like friction to build that is a reason why there isn't a lot of it out there. And number
Mm.
two, why people are actually willing to pay more money for it. So I definitely think the real estate and e-commerce stuff could definitely be like templates that you would want to get paid for. Uh,
Yeah.
and an interesting sort of strategy that I've seen too around templates is what creators do is they kind of have a couple of different pricing tiers. They have a pricing tier which is like, okay, buy this template, it's going to be $99, you go crazy. And then they also have an extra tier which is like, okay, it's $1,000, but I'll customize it for you. Because again,
Oh.
a lot of the sort of people who are buying templates aren't designers and they're almost too scared to touch design software. Like, yes, Framer's friendly and it's the most friendly sort of option. There's a little bit more pro compared to like Wix or Squarespace. But for a lot of like busy people, especially in like e-commerce or real estate space, real estate especially, they're probably willing to spend an extra $1,000 to kind of pay an expert or the creator to do
Yeah.
it themselves. So I think there is sort of like untapped opportunity there as well. And then I think the other thing, especially if you're being like specific about who you're talking to, searchable content and SEO will absolutely be your friends. Like when somebody goes on Google and they go real estate template for Framer, and I'm sure you can probably gather data on like how well that's performing against something else. But like if you can be in the top 5 sort of search results for that, you will absolutely get sales because those sort of people are ready to buy.
Yeah.
And we've seen that across all our products. Like searchable content and SEO is the number one driver for sales, simply because like
Wow.
the course, for example, most of those sort of sales come from YouTube pretty directly because like people are googling how to do something in Framer, and then obviously they build a relationship with me. But even like for like our e-commerce product, people Google Framer Shopify, and there's a
Yeah.
video on it where in the top Google search, like those sort of people have very clear intent and what they're trying to do. And then again, there's a very clear sort of outcome and solution for them that they can just quickly buy. So I think same thing with templates. Find the space and search that's easy to win.
In my mind, where the idea came from, it's like, currently I know there's wireframer, which I'm opposed to it, but like I like to move things around, I don't know, I'm old school, maybe it's my age, like I'm revealing my age. I don't know, I come from Photoshop, like that's where I started. So this, like I still have want to move things around and think of things. So in my mind, I'm thinking, what if I have like a kit that is I can wireframe things, and then once I have like a design direction, I can just go in there and put the styles in, and boom, it's done. It's already coded essentially, like in the framer like ecosystem. So that was the thinking behind it. And essentially it's more of a tool for me, but if I could put it out there, I don't know.
The intention's really important around the products that you want to create. Like if you can use that as, say, a lead magnet to something else, or even as an
Yeah.
as a way to stand out, to like get a client on Contra or whatever, like absolutely go for it. I think you know, Framer's still new. I think people say Framer's oversaturated and there's too many creators and whatever. It's really not when you compare it to Shopify or the WordPress ecosystem and shit like that. Like it's so undervalued. Um, but you still need a way to stand out and to
Yeah.
uniquely position yourself. So even if you like create something, whether it be paid, free, whatever, um, if you find it valuable, someone else is probably going to find it valuable, and you just need to figure out
Yeah.
what the sort of intention is kind of linking to. And again, maybe the intention is just to create cool shit for the community, and that just builds trust, and that helps in ways that you can't measure. Like that's totally fine too.
Yeah, I need to get very direct about, not very direct, more like clear. You're absolutely right. I again, that's an area where I struggle because I just follow my curiosities, and my curiosities don't always have like how would you say, like a bottom line and a
Yeah,
plan and
sure.
and this sort of thing. But yeah, in this kind of challenge, I think it would be great to top that onto the challenge as well, as to like get a bit more clear about where we're going, what we're doing, what is this, what's the purpose, why are we here, you know?
Yeah, like it's just I don't know. I guess it's marketing, it's communication, right? Like you
Yeah,
can kind of take the buzzwords and the fluff out of it, but and this is why searchable content works so well, because when you can very clearly articulate what your thing does and the problem it solves, then you know you the rest is relatively straightforward. You know,
yeah.
if people can search for the problem that you have an answer for, then you know, you've already got a winning strategy that pays dividends over time. Does that give you enough to kind of go off? That give you a little bit more insight and a bit of a plan?
Totally. Well, this week I plan on starting on this CV thingy, which again,
Cool.
I have no big how would you say, aspirations for it. This is like the first experimental project. And then move on to the bigger elephant in the room,
Yeah.
essentially, which would be e-commerce and real estate. So I feel like I feel more zoned in, whereas before my ideas were scattered. Oh, what if I could
Yeah.
do a plugin? And what if I could do this? But through our chat, I'm like, okay, I need to focus, be realistic, quite frankly, which I'm not great at. Um, and just focus on one thing at a time. Don't start a million things. And, again, I'm just, it feels like a therapy session because I'm giving you all my like my own pitfalls essentially. I'm like, this is where I know I will like fail if I go down these paths because I've been down there before. So it's just about focus on one area, take it one step at a time, communicate well, like the products you're putting out there. Like in my mind, I think I need to frame them as almost its own product. Like who is the user for this product? Why would they use it? What are they gonna search for? So I think that's really good reframing of how to think of it. As a user almost rather than a customer, if that makes sense. I feel like that my mind makes more sense of that. Yeah, I think we're ready to roll.
Yeah. So if I was you, here's exactly what I would do over the next couple of months. I would first build that resume template and submit it and get it approved on the Framer marketplace, because I think there's things that you'll naturally pick up on there that's part of the process, like in terms of the requirements for submission, what it looks like to actually, you know, you need thumbnails and assets, you have to prepare, how do you talk about it, what are the fields required? And I just think from doing that first template that's relatively low barrier to entry, you'll just learn a ton about like the process of making and hopefully selling a template. Even if that first sale's for free, I think that's a win. And then, yeah, move on to those larger templates. You've now got a little bit of understanding the process. You know what works, you know what doesn't work, and then just make it very clear who you're speaking to. Make the way you title it, the way you put descriptions, make it very searchable. And then hopefully, if that all goes well, include your creator code on the
Yeah.
remix links if you don't have that set up already. And then, yeah, hopefully that will get you started towards that journey of the 5K.
Awesome.
So I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Angie, and hopefully there was a few things you could take away. And if you enjoyed this video and you want more Framer content just like this one, consider subscribing to the channel because we're putting out new Framer videos every single week. And if you are interested in mastering Framer and monetizing your passion, check out my Ultimate Framer Masterclass, which is my A to Z course on everything Framer. But until next time, I'll catch you later.